Hello, students. I hope that you all will be in pink of health at your home. Student, today we are going to discuss our chapter number 3 in the Kingdom of Fools, written by A.K. Ramanujan. This chapter is from our second book, Moments. Let's know something about the author. The life tenure of the author is 1929 to 1993. Atipatte Krishnaswamy Ramanujan, popularly known as A.K. Ramanujan, was an Indian poet and scholar of Indian literature who wrote in both English and Kannada. Ramanujan was a poet, scholar, professor, philologist, folklorist, translator, and an eminent playwright. Some of his masterpieces are Second Sight, The Black Hand, Self Portrait, etc. For his eminent and famous works or masterpieces, he scored many prizes or awards like Padma Shri, MacArthur Fellowship, and Sahitya Akademi Award. The story In the Kingdom of Fools actually is a Canadian folktale that is taken from A.K. Ramanujan's famous work Folk Tales from India. Let's talk about the characters. Guru. He was a very wise and intelligent person. He acquired great knowledge and experience from his life. He could easily estimate and foretell about the things. He knew that the behavior of the fools is unpredictable. He advised his disciple not to stay in the kingdom of fools, but the disciple, being a greedy and glutton, he denied to leave the place or to leave the kingdom of fools. Now, we will talk about the disciple. The disciple, the disciple was a food freak. He was tempted with the cheap food available in the kingdom of fools. His master, his mentor, compelled him to leave the place or the kingdom of fools, but he denied to leave that place. Then, both the guru and the disciple reached the kingdom of fools. Then they observed different things there. When they reached, it was bright day, but they were not able to see anyone in the city because all the people were sleeping. Now, now we will talk about the minister and the king. Ministers and the king all were idiots. Now, what about the kingdom? It is the story of a kingdom where the king and the minister both were foolish. So, they wanted to rule their kingdom in a different way. So, they decided to pass an order. According to that order, people should be slept during day and they should work during night. It means they will treat day as night and night as day. The king and his ministers were delighted to see that all the people of the kingdom were following their orders. When the Guru and the disciple arrived in the kingdom, they found that the day was sunny. They were astonished to see that nobody was there in the city. Actually, they did not know about the king's order. As soon as it was night, everyone woke up and started doing their work. They both were very happy. When the shops opened at night, they went to buy groceries. But again, they were astonished to find that everything costed one dudu there. The things which were very cheap out there, by paying one dudu, they can easily buy a big bunch of bananas or a big bag of rice. They became very happy. As the Guru was a wise man, so very soon he realized that the kingdom was a kingdom of fools and decided to leave the place at once. The Guru tried to convince his disciple to leave the place, but he did not listen. He decided to stay in the kingdom of fools. How the problem starts in the story. One day, a thief entered a merchant's house. He made a hole in the wall to gain access. When he was about to move out of the house, after looting all the things, the wall broke and fell down on his head and he died there. The thief's younger brother went to the king and complained that his brother was following his ancient trade. Although the ancient trade means robbing is a crime. Although the ancient trade robbing is a crime, but the king, being foolish, was not able to understand the fact. The thief's younger brother told him that while he was working, the wall fell on his head and he died. The thief's brother was taking advantage of the king's foolishness. He said that the merchant whose wall had fallen down on his brother was the culprit. He should have made a strong wall. He requested the king to punish the merchant and get compensation for his family. The king was so foolish that he did not consider the fact that the dead man was committing theft at the time of death. He only thought that the man died because the wall fell on him, and the owner of the house whose wall fell on him had to be punished. So he called the merchant. The merchant reached the kingdom, but he put the blame on the bricklayer who had built the wall. The king ordered his men to bring in the bricklayer. They brought him tied hand and foot. The bricklayer requested the king to listen to him. He put the blame on the dancing girl who was roaming around in the street and her anklets were making a jingling sound. Due to jingling sound, he was not able to concentrate on his work. So he built a weak wall. He said that it was the fault of dancing girl. Now in the slide you can see that the rich merchant put the blame on bricklayer. Then bricklayer put the blame on dancing girl. Then the dancing girl holds the goldsmith responsible for the death of the thief. Then goldsmith put the blame on rich merchant. Then the dancing girl was called in, who had become an old woman now. She was trembling as she entered the court. The king told her that she was roaming around with her anklets jingling. It distracted the bricklayer, and the bricklayer made a weak wall that fell on the thief, and he was killed. The dancing girl transferred the transferred the blame onto another person. She said that she was roaming around in this lane again and again because she had given some gold to the goldsmith to make jewelry out of it. And goldsmith was calling her time and again to collect her jewelry. So it was the fault of goldsmith. Now the king ordered his man to bring the goldsmith in. The goldsmith was hiding inside his shop as he feared being arrested. When he reached the king's court, he narrated his own story. He said that he was busy making jewelry of a rich merchant. Due to this, he had to call the dancing girl time and again to his shop. The king asked the goldsmith to name the rich merchant. He told that it was the same merchant whose wall had fallen on the thief. So, once again, the merchant was called. He said that it was not he who ordered for the jewelry, but it was his father. So, it was not his fault. In slides, you can see the pictures of merchant, bricklayer, and the dancing girl, and the goldsmith also. These are the pictures of the persons who were to be tried in the king's court. Now, after consulting with his ministers, the king ordered that the rich merchant should be punished as he inherited all the things from his father. The king announced that the rich merchant would have to die. He should be executed. He ordered his men to get the stake ready. When his new weapon was getting ready, the minister felt that the merchant was very thin and he could not be executed in this way. He told this to the king, and the king got worried. But the merchant was too thin to fit the stake. That's why a fat man was searched for. The servant's eyes fell on the disciple who had flattened himself for months on bananas and rice and wheat and ghee. He pleaded the king that he was innocent but of no use. While he was waiting for death, he remembered his guru who saw everything in his vision as he had some supernatural powers. He was blessed with these magical or supernatural powers. Just because of these powers, he was able to see. He arrived at once to rescue his disciple. He whispered something in his disciple's ears. Then he requested the king to put him to the stake first. When the disciple heard this, he said that he was brought there first, so he should be put to death first. The king was surprised to see the fight between the guru and his disciple over the issue of who should be executed first. When the king asked them the reason, the guru hesitatingly told him that whoever died on the stake first would be reborn as the king of that kingdom. The one who died next would be the minister of that country. The king was puzzled. He did not want to lose the kingdom to someone else in the next time also. So he discussed the matter with his minister, and finally they arrived at the conclusion that they should own the stake to be reborn as king and minister. So they went secretly to the prison and freed the Guru and his disciple. Then they disguised themselves as the two and got themselves executed. The people now made the Guru and his disciple their king and minister respectively and began to lead a normal life. Students, I hope you got the story very well. Now, you all are supposed to prepare a brief summary for the same chapter. Thank you. Have a nice